Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fulcrum Group's monthly webinar series, How to Create Effective IT Policies. I'm David Johnson, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Fulcrum Group. Today, we will discuss 7 key steps you can take to create effective IT policies. This webinar is being recorded and everyone is muted, so please submit your questions via chat. We will answer these questions at the end. Let's go ahead and get started. Today's agenda will cover the following topics. Why are clear and easily understood IT policies important? And then our 7 key steps. Keep it short, relevant, aligned, and add value. Step 2, identify what's needed in your IT policies. Step 3, identify who's responsible and the chain of command. Step 4, develop clear and concise IT policies. Step 5, preview policies with executives and stakeholders. Step 6, implement your new policies. And step 7, the cycle of monitor, review, and revise. At the end, if there are any questions, we'll have a quick Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started. Policies and procedures are 2 of the words that most employees dread to hear, especially when it comes to IT. Is it because people feel as though they are being micromanaged when they have to abide by and comply with policies and procedures? The next obvious question is, why do we need to have IT policies and procedures? Here are a few reasons in no particular order. IT policies address threats. Threats are everywhere, especially when it comes to IT security and the explosion of ransomware these days. The goal behind IT policies is to address those threats, implement strategies on how to mitigate those threats, and how to recover from threats that have exposed a portion of your organization. IT policies engage stakeholders, executives, and employees. Think about a time when you worked for an organization that forced a bunch of policies and procedures down your throat. What were some of the thoughts you had? Where do these thoughts come from? Where do these policies come from? Who created them? Why are we doing this? These are all valid questions and ones that can be avoided when you engage employees in the process of developing and implementing IT policies. Of course, there are going to be instances where organizations have to create and implement policies without engaging employees for obvious reasons, but think about the message that your organization is sending when they allow employees to participate in the development and review of these policies and procedures. IT policies provide a roadmap of what to do and when. IT policies provide a roadmap to employees of what to do and when to do it. Think about those annoying password management policies that every company has. You know, the ones where you have to change your passwords every 30 days and can't use the last 20 passwords that you previously entered. If that policy and procedure didn't exist in organizations, how common would it be for people to use simple, easy-to-guess passwords that ultimately leave the organization open to increased risk of data theft and/or data loss? And then the final reason is that IT policies define who gets access to what. Without policies and procedures in place, everyone would be allowed into all locations of the network, and that just wouldn't be good for business. So that's why policies help you define who gets access to what. Keep it short, relevant, aligned, and add value. Remember the essence of a good policy. Keep it as short as possible. No one is going to read, much less follow, a 50-page policy. Keep it relevant to the audience. Remember the technical knowledge of the people who will be reading the policy and what their job duties are. Keep it aligned to the needs of the business or organization. Have the business's goals in mind when you create the policies. Keep it aligned to any regulatory frameworks in which you operate, such as HIPAA, PCI, or compliance, or Sarbanes-Oxley, excuse me. And of course, make sure the policies add value to your business or organization. And that means more than just checking the box to say, yes, we have IT policies in place. Identify what's needed in your IT policies. Think about why the IT policies are needed in the first place. This will help direct your efforts. And in thinking about each of the individual policies that make up your overall IT policy, what is the purpose of each policy? Each of your policies should have a specific purpose, and all of the policies should fit together. And then think about what are the business objectives of my organization, and how can our IT policies help support and accomplish these objectives? Keeping business objectives in mind helps drive value. Are there any regulatory rules that the policies need to adhere to? Regulatory rules are such a big driver of policies at organizations such as healthcare, financial services, and local government. At a minimum, most organizations need an IT operations policy, an IT security policy, an IT acceptable use policy, and an IT backup and disaster recovery policy. Some organizations may need an IT change management policy or other IT policies for specific needs. It's also a good idea to check for overlap with any existing policies. For example, your employee handbook may already include an acceptable use policy, or your organization may have a non-IT specific disaster recovery or business continuity policy. Identify who's responsible and the chain of command. Depending on the size of the organization, this could range from the office manager to the CIO. Whoever this person is, this person will establish the format of the policies. Individual IT policies, they may be handled by a specific staff. Delegation is important to keep staff members engaged and to reduce the senior management workload. Determining the chain of command for approving policies as well. Executive management should be aware of and approve all IT policies. Policies should be reviewed and signed off by management at the beginning, and then again when the policies are ready to be distributed. Develop clear and concise IT policies. When developing your IT policies, be sure to use clear and concise language that can be understood by everyone. Clear and concise language reduces confusion and makes for more impactful policies. Include an exceptions process and allow some room for shades of gray where possible that allows decision makers some flexibility. Consult with stakeholders and affected team leaders to provide them with an opportunity for input. This makes them more likely to adhere to the policies when implemented. Surveys to end users can also be used to gather additional information. Preview IT policies with stakeholders and executives. For IT policies to be effective, they need to have top-down approval and backing, and stakeholders need to know their concerns have been heard. Make any required modifications and then review again. Your policies aren't ready to be implemented until fully reviewed and approved. Implement your new IT policies. Start with communication. Make sure management approves your communication to end users before sending, and use multiple mediums to communicate the policies. Review the policies at staff meetings. Send out follow-up emails. Develop a presentation that overviews the IT policies. And then make sure to provide training for key staff and managers. Make sure they understand the key components of the policy. All parties need to make sure they understand all of those. Invest in training not only on policies, but also any corresponding technical training that would be helpful. And most importantly, make sure end-user security awareness training is an ongoing process. Consider using cloud-based knowledge vendors to provide and track training usage. Contact your Fulcrum Group account manager for recommendations. And the last step is the monitor, review, and revise ongoing cycle. There's an old adage, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And this applies to IT policies as well. Ensure that you have methods in place to monitor various systems that are affected by the IT policies. Login auditing, firewall logging, intrusion logging and response, web content filtering, and network monitoring are just a few of the monitoring tools that you can use. Having a regular review of IT policies, at least annually, with a standardized review process will help you revise IT policies as your situation changes or new threats emerge or new technologies emerge. As you review your policies, you'll find that sometimes it makes sense to combine policies or even to eliminate a specific policy if it is no longer needed. And finally, make sure that you have the recurring schedule in place and that you adhere to that schedule. And that's our presentation for today. Thank you for attending. We're going to wait a few minutes and see if any questions come in, and if they are, we will answer those. It looks like we have no questions, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this presentation up. This presentation will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and will also be sent out to all of the registered attendees. Thanks and have a great day.